working with Pruning Blueberries. This is a southern high bush. We're in Fremont, California. The southern types do really well here. The plants are already starting to grow a little bit, and that can be good as long as the development isn't too much, because when they start to grow, it's much easier to see the deadwood. And so the first thing I will usually do when approaching a blueberry plant is to go through and prune out the dead wood. So I'm going to start right there, looking at the dead twigs we have here, and I'm just going to start cutting them out of the bush. Blueberries are susceptible to a certain amount of diseases in this climate. Process number one with your blueberries: cut off the dead wood. I just follow it down to where there's a little bit of green left there and cut it off just above of the green. This bush has got quite a bit of it. I'm not sure whether it just got a lot of disease this last year, whether it was lack of water, but for whatever reason we have a lot of dead twigs in here to work with. Perhaps they haven't been cut out for a while. I believe this is one of the first times that I've actually pruned these blueberries myself. It may contain a certain amount of bacteriums, and so the living wood down here is usually clean, and if we cut below it, then we'll end up usually taking the organism out of the bush rather than leaving it. That pretty much rounds up the deadwood. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this bush and I'm going to look for weak side shoots. Right down here we have some side shoots that are close to the ground, and not particularly vigorous. And so I'm going to take these off, and then I'm going to switch to my lopper for that job, and I'm going to take them off right down at the base. Right there, that one goes. There's another one here. I'll take that off. There have been some stubs left in the past. I'm going to remove the old wood that was still sticking up, because I should leave, get rid of the stubs, because if you leave stubs on the plant of dead wood, chances are disease can vector into them and live in there. Here's another fairly weak shoot here. I'm going to take that one off, and I have one more right here. There. Okay. That pretty much takes care of the weak shoots that are in the plant. So now the next thing we're going to look at is old wood as compared to new wood. We need to rotate some of the wood in the blueberry so that we're getting rid of the material that's been growing in here for long periods of time. Like, say, for instance, this piece right here. This is a really old trunk. It's a large diameter, a lot of bark. There's no buds or anything all the way down. Everything is way up here. And right next to it here, we have a shoot that is green, much more vigorous, and coming from the same origin. So that's actually on the same branch. And what I want to do is replace this piece of wood with this piece of wood. So I'm going to go in here, and we have some dead wood there. Get that out of the way, and then get in here as close as I can without damaging things using a lopper. There we go. And I'm going to cut that piece right off. There's what I've taken out. You see here how we had all this great big long old shoot, and the only place it was producing green shoots was way up on top. Now what we've done is we've replaced this shoot with this one in our plant, and so now this is a younger shoot. It's got more chlorophyll in it. It's going to make more buds, more flowers, and probably more berries, be more vigorous than the old ones. Here's another piece of dead wood that I missed right here. It's a big one. It's got a little bit of living growth down low, but everything above this here is dead. And so I just took the entire thing out, because we should thin blueberries to some extent too. Occasionally the insides of the plants just become too dense. And so we're going to use that as thinning. Now look and see here if I got any other really old wood to remove. Yeah, I'm going to take one more old shoot out. I've got one right over here. It's twisted, it bends back in, and it's got a loop going over this way, so its form isn't that good. It has a new shoot coming from low that I'm going to leave as a new growing tip. And so remove that just like that. You see here how it was kind of convoluted, dead wood sticking out of it, and really not that vigorous anymore. So we've taken that one out. This is a funny looking thing over here, and I don't like it at all. So we're just going to take that off because it looks more like a trip hazard than a branch. And in fact, here we can see it was half dead. You have living tissue on this side with chlorophyll, but on this side everything was brown and dead. So that wasn't a very good piece of wood anyway. Keeping it cleaned up. All right, now let me step back here and look at my work. Whenever pruning, always change perspective and look from different angles. Here we have a finished blueberry plant. Now the next thing we're going to want to do afterwards is spring will be starting soon, and so we would put down a good mulch of organic matter around these plants. We have a certain amount of wood chip that's already been put down here, and that's a good thing with blueberries. Wood compost, chipped wood and so on are good with them. They like acid pH. And so making sure your soil is not too basic. If you can manage to keep the blueberries about 6.2 and lower, down to about 5.5 on the pH scale, they're going to grow much better. That's challenging here in Fremont because our soils tend to run at 7. And so it's amazing we can grow blueberries at all sometimes. But if we address them with acetic fertilizers, cottonseed meal, organic cottonseed meal is a good solution. That's an acid fertilizer. And so we put down fresh compost mulches or wood mulches every year around the plants. You can even use pine needles around blueberries because they like acidity. It's a good place to use up oak leaves too from fall. Put them around blueberries. And then look for good quality organic fertilizers to feed them, because after the pruning we've removed a bunch of wood here, and we need to give the plant something to grow itself back. Hopefully we will get brand new shoots from low in the plant after this kind of cutting, because the removal of the wood from the plant usually stimulates the plant to want to grow forward and make some nice fresh green shoots. Thanks for watching Green Garden Guy, and maybe we'll move on to another blueberry here, but enjoy those blueberries. Full of antioxidants, great stuff. I love them in pancakes. Drop them in the holes in your waffles.